Go live. Got about 15 minutes. Hey, everybody, we're live. Look at that. That was quick. Hey, guys. Hey, Sean. Hey, Paula in the chat room. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let's get everybody going here. All right, let me close this out. Yeah, so today's going to be interesting because this is a big leap for Apple and for almost everybody. Because the reality is they're not the only ones that are going to be doing this. This is something that Microsoft has played around with for a number of years now, going over to ARM. A lot of PC manufacturers have considered going over to ARM, but unfortunately for them, it has not worked out great. Sean, thanks for hanging out. Man, this, you know what? I was going to go into Manhattan today. Let me turn this on. This keeps overheating. I was going into Manhattan today. Noel, what's going on? And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just do the live coverage. Paul and I have probably not done a live watch-along in years. So, Michael, watch them release an AR glass today. I know. Well, maybe that's the one more thing. Listen, we don't know what the one more thing is. We just know that they most likely it's going to be this Apple chipset-based MacBook or line of MacBooks. Now, here's where a lot of the speculation comes into play. Hang on. Thank you. So my overhead light went out today, and I just found some. Perfect. My hair light. Sorry, evening. To Paul also. It's going to be Apple's. Yeah, and listen, it is. It's going to be Apple's product, but the big question here is a lot of speculation whether or not, they're killing Intel. They're not. They have said in the past they are not eliminating Intel. And I'll tell you why. I use a 2019 MacBook Pro, i9 in my office. Right? Because I do video editing, I do photo editing, I'm doing a whole lot of stuff. There is no possibility that an Apple chipset based processor that's most likely going to be 8 cores is going to be better than that at this point, right? At this moment. That's the reality of this. It's not going to be better. This device will be excellent if you are looking to buy a MacBook. Super lightweight. Obviously, they're going to be talking about all-day battery life, right? That's going to be the big story here. All-day battery life. Every time they say that, we're going to have a little drink. So right now, I'm drinking it's actually not bad wine, but it's starting to go. So I put a little ice in it because I want to finish this bottle. So every time they mention all-day battery life, we're going to be taking a drink here. All right. Little vino with my What the Tech watch along today, huh? All right, my light keeps going out, and it keeps going out because it knows I'm doing a show. It's all right. I'm going to change these lights here today, too. Everything is getting... Well, there you go. You're back. Thank you. Let's turn you off and cool you down a little bit. Jonathan says, I admire a man that isn't afraid to drink wine with his ice cube. Listen, the Spaniards pride themselves with drinking red wine with ice in the summer. This room is very warm, and I'm not ashamed. I'm a big wine fan. I'm a little bit of a wine snob too, but there's nothing wrong with cooling down your red wine and having a little. No, I know sangria, but they actually do drink red wine with ice. Sangria is phenomenal. You can make this into a nice spritzer also. All right, so let's I sent Paul the new link. He has that. We're live on Twitch. We're live on YouTube. I want to get the post out there that we're going live now at 1 o'clock. Let's go live. All right, that's posted. All right, let's do a Q&A in the chat room too. If you guys have any questions, let's do that. Posted that in the group. All right. See, can I ask why Apple have not switched to AMD or AMD performance lately? I think because the whole plan has always been for them that if they are switching from Intel, they're going to switch to their own chipset. I mean, this is something that they planned for many years. We've spoken about this for a number of years. It's not a matter of when, if, or it's more when. And we're in the when portion now. You know, they've taken years to develop this chipset. They've seen the success it's had on the iPad, the performance that it's able to get on the iPad, the Apple chipsets. And now they've made the decision that they feel confident enough that this is going to be able to move over to their PC, to their, non-super mobile hardware, their laptops, possibly even into their Mac lineup. The actual Mac desktop that they have. Let's see how much they're selling that thing for right now. The Mac Mini. The Mac Mini would be the best platform for this. Why do you need an Intel chipset in that thing? Make the Mac Mini into an ARM-based, I keep saying ARM, I don't know why, but into an Apple silicon-based processor and call it a day. Right now, they're putting a 6-core i7 in that thing, and it's very underclocked. It's not a very high-performance device, and you know what? This is the perfect device to put this chipset in. I don't want to see this thing in a 16-inch MacBook Pro right now. I don't think it's ready for that. And Intel, this is a big problem for Intel, Rob. We're looking at the longevity of this, and for Intel, they're in trouble because you're going to see more and more PC manufacturers making ARM-based chipsets. Once Windows is able to kind of adapt and go through with this on the PC side, they're jumping over. And I think it's going to be the enthusiasts. It's going to be us that buy Intel-based processors because people that are buying these computers, they don't really look at to see if they have an i7 in that thing. It's not a thing that most people do. Then, the phone market has changed everything. This device has changed the way we buy computers, or if we are even buying computers. But for me, for most people, it's changed the way that people buy computers. Because when is the last time you heard about performance? Does anybody know how much RAM this phone has? What kind of video processing power it has? Most likely, the answer is no. I'm sure, the 50 or so people, 100 or so people watching this right now would maybe most likely have an answer. But majority of people walking around with this thing in their pocket, they don't care about that. All they care about is, can I open my apps fast enough? And can I take good photos? And how's my battery? They don't know the nitty gritty behind what's going on. Hey, Paul.
Sorry.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I was on a rant.
No, I just gotta.
Oh, good. Hey, let me center you. Hi. So everybody say hi to Paul. A lot of first-time viewers today. Hi,
I'll just
Paul.
apologize in advance.
It's okay. Today's gonna be fun. I gotta find. It's on YouTube, correct?
Yeah.
The tube of views.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about before you came on how we got like 5 minutes here before it goes on, but I think it is an interesting discussion to have because I was saying how this device here has changed the way people buy computers because essentially this is a computer. People are not looking at the gigahertz or the processor anymore. They're going with what can I get for the most bang for my buck? What's going to give me good battery life? And is it fast enough?
Yep.
And that is exactly what Apple's targeting with this.
Well, yeah, I'm really curious to see how they present this. Because if it's just benchmarks, that doesn't mean a thing.
I just messaged our friend John Prosser.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks you hate him.
Yeah, I can't stand that freaking guy.
He thinks you hate
No,
him.
why does he think that? I don't hate
know.
John. I don't even know John Prosser.
Because you know how many people dislike him? And he's like, I feel like Paul would dislike me. I was like, why?
No,
He's
no.
like, oh,
if
'cause I'm like a
anything,
little bit on
I
your
understand.
cartoon.
No,
Because he does the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, well, I do hate those people for sure. No, I don't.
Multi-view. Where's Paul?
I joke about John Prosser. I've never even met John Prosser, have I?
No, I don't think so.
And I'm not even sure he exists.
I made him up. He's one of my figments of my imagination that I've unleashed onto this.
It's one of your characters.
I have many. How hysterical is that message? That comment on the YouTube video.
I mean, I've often suspected is all I can really say. You know.
How do I even find this event? Why is iJustine coming up when I put in Apple event? Have they begun their stream? Everybody's begun their Apple coverage stream except for Apple.
There you go.
John Prosser is just an alternate identity for Andrew. I discovered him. I invented him.
Mm-hmm.
John Prosser.
If Andrew had been reinvented as a YouTube personality,
it would be me. It would be John Prosser.
John Prosser, if you think about it, it's probably like an amalgam for something. Like if you jumbled the letters around, it probably spells something really mean.
I've had two very good friends, John Prosser and Tim Dillon, get articles written about them this week, pretty much destroying their character as people. Yeah. And I'm like, what is happening? Why are my friends all being targeted?
Hey,
Andrew made John who he is today. I want you to tell him that.
Wow. How are we going to handle the audio for this thing today?
Oh, can you listen on your end also?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pump the audio. I guess I'm afraid of getting flagged because the last one I played it for like 3 seconds and Tim Cook was speaking and it flagged us. So I'm just going to have it on my TV.
There you go.
If that works for you.
Yeah, of course. I just want to make sure.
You need these lights behind you. That's what you need. You need all these funky lights happening behind you, too.
Yeah, I need lights. I would like to have colored loop. We have audio.
Oh, we do? This is one more thing on my end.
It's so colorful.
Where, Apple or
Apple.
me?
Well, you and your rainbow coalition over there.
That's what I'm going for. You don't see it? Just like the Apple
What was that? Not Star Bright. What was that thing? Rainbow Bright?
United Colors of Benetton?
Yeah.
How's the Xbox, Paul?
It's very good.
Which we'll talk about a little bit today. Don't hate people. Spread the love. I love John Prosser. I love to hate John Prosser. John's a good boy. A lot of people crap on him. He has an 85% accuracy on his Apple leaks, by the way. There's a website called appletracker.com, and it tracks all
Who's
the
ahead of him?
leaks.
Who does better?
I guess someone that's a little bit more conservative. The only thing he got wrong, honestly, I looked at it. I was like, I want to know what his credibility is.
Sure.
Bram in our chat room says, just here to see Fred. Where's Fred? Fred just brought me these light bulbs, Bram. My father has a crush on Bram Berlin in the chat room here. My father and him, that's his boy. He just wants to chill with Bram.
Wow.
He brought me these light bulbs just now. Loving this. So this is what I was saying, Paul. Do you have a drink with you? Because I think we should make a drinking game every time.
You know what?
Every time Apple
I really
says,
did think about it, but this
do
is
it. Do it.
It is
Come
1
on.
o'clock in the afternoon on
cares?
Tuesday.
I'm drinking red wine with ice. I'm classless.
I feel like I'm listening to Enya over here.
You want like a nice massage, you know?
Yeah, right.
Dim the lights. Like
right.
This is how
Are
I do
you
massage.
interested in maybe an alternative afternoon?
Can Paul open up about the Xbox now? Are the shackles unlocked? It is. Today's the day.
Yeah, everything's free and clear.
Guys, I want to remind everybody, we're going to do this in a fun manner. We don't take this super serious. We're not the New York Times.
Why do you hate Apple so much? That's what I always get.
Yeah. I get the same thing too, and I've become like a total Apple
Andrew.
mark with my MacBooks and my... Dude, you know what I hooked up in my office today? I found an LG 5K display, Thunderbolt display.
You found one?
I found one, yeah.
Was it in the back of a truck?
It was literally in the storage room covered with cocktail waitress dresses. I wish I was making this up. And I found that I hooked it up. My God, it's remarkable. I was like, holy moly. This display is unbelievable. All right, so we got a video playing here.
Yep.
We got a nice, it looks like my studio.
I'm waiting for like a Biden-Harris flag to fall down from the top of the building.
You think they're going to be wearing Biden-Harris masks in this video? So here's a spaceship that Apple made. Yep, I guarantee this thing could blast off into space.
Cafeteria full of people eating lunch.
Yeah, everybody's gone. Is this thing done yet or no? They're still doing it.
Yeah, no, it's done. It's done.
It's done. But they never broke ground or let people go in there, right? Oh, here's Tim. Relatable Tim.
Oh, are there challenges?
Here he comes. So this is the third event that's not a typical Apple keynote.
Yeah.
Right now. I kind of like these better. What do you think? There we go. All the upgrades they've done. You know,
they never get tired of patting themselves on the back. There's like 10 minutes of this.
We've
just
invented
wish we could be here together
Paul.
So we could.
Yeah. Ever heard of a thing called a watch? We invented that. Forget about all the other companies prior to us. First time I'm going to buy one, by the way. I'm going to get an Apple Watch.
iPad. Oh, a watch.
Yeah. So all the announcements, they're reviewing all the announcements they made in the previous events.
Jeez,
the
Louise.
HomePod Mini that nobody's buying.
I told you I made my wife watch the Apple Watch announcement. She goes, "Who's this old guy?"
The guy that runs the show.
Yeah, I'm like, he's the CEO of Apple. She's like, "Oh, that explains why he's talking." Yeah.
Where's Federini with his beautiful hair?
Do you think he has to work on the hushed voice? Like he's just... It's in our DNA.
He's going really into this really quick. It's time to talk about the Mac.
Because of the pandemic.
Yeah. What do you think? You're going to get
We don't even know why. Why are people buying more computers? We don't know, but we're going to make more of them.
Why are people more than ever?
It's like there's more people buying the Mac than ever before, so we're going to screw with it.
Yeah.
Like we're just going to completely
that's working
change
really well for us that we fixed finally?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm waiting for him to say the key phrase of all-day battery life.
Oh, boy. Oh, got a video. Oh, jeez.
You know what I want to do? I want to grab a Surface, throw it on the floor, and rip his shirt, and it just says, "Screw you," on his chest.
Yep.
I want to do something totally irrational.
Oh, there's Andrew.
There's Tom Hanks. There's me. It's just all celebrities using Billie Eilish.
Yeah, sure. Well, they're the only ones who can afford it.
They're the only ones. Lady Gaga using her 16-inch brand new. Let's turn this into a political ad now. There we go. Unity for all with Apple.
Sure.
It takes courage, dude. You know that.
These guys are thinking different.
Spike Lee. Lisa Simpson using a PowerBook. I guess she went over the Windows a while ago.
Oh God, it's Tim Cook again.
It's Tim Cook.
This looks like the most inefficient building God has ever created. What is going on? What is this? Is this Cloud City from The Empire Strikes Back? What is this?
How the hell do you get down?
Luke and Leia going to run by with Chewbacca?
I'm telling you, dude, one day they're just going to blast off and leave the planet and take all their stuff with them.
Like a cult. They'll leave some red sneakers behind.
Oh, my God.
God, even the floors are rainbow colored in this place.
Here we go. All right. They're going to unveil it now. We're going deep down to the
Mac.
basement. Area 51. For some reason, my house smells like a everything bagel. I don't know why. I have no idea what's going on here. Hello, John. It's a cheese grater on the screen. You know, is this the year to do this?
It doesn't really matter, honestly.
Doesn't matter to them, right? Humongous leap forward to go backwards.
Still talking years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, yeah, you are ahead of me. Are you watching on YouTube?
I am.
What do you have,
I could pause it for 5 seconds if you'd like.
No, it's okay. The M1.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Not that, Johnny.
The M1 chip. So this is what they're going to be calling the modified iPad chipsets, right? Because that's what it is.
Yeah. So this is an A14X with
Yeah.
something, different cores. Because of stupid Intel, it needed all these stupid chips.
I know. They screwed up, man. Intel really screwed up. There's a logic board, okay.
The M1 chip is located in the M key on the keyboard.
So they've combined the RAM, the video, everything into one chip.
That's going to make RAM upgrades a little complicated.
Very. What are you talking about? It's a Mac, Paul. RAM upgrades? What are you? In 2014? Why would anybody want to upgrade their RAM? See, here's the problem. You're taking a $2,000, $3,000 device and making it into an appliance that's disposable after 3 years.
Why is that a problem?
Well, for Apple, as a cash register, cha-ching.
That sounds like a strategy, Andrew. I don't know what you're talking about.
It means nothing. 16 billion transistors. What does that mean?
8-core processor.
Yeah, they have to. Well, what's his the iPads are an 8-core. No, they're 6-core.
Yeah.
Right? Are they 8 or 6?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
This one's 8.
Okay. 8 cores, 16 threads.
Hey.
Did they say it? World's fastest CPU core? I don't even know if that's accurate.
Well, we got whatever. In the abstract, that doesn't mean anything, but
Robert goes, wow, a chip named after a road that goes from London to Leeds in England.
Right. The M1, or as we call it in the UK, the one.
One. Okay, so wide execution architecture, 128 kilobit.
So it's powerful, but how much are the wheels?
Yeah. How much are the wheels? Like $500, right? For the set of wheels? Best performance per watt, CPU performance per watt. That's
the latest PC laptop chip.
What does that even mean?
I know.
So a 10 watt. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the wattage, yeah, it consumes a lot more. The latest PC laptop chips. Battery,
Well,
battery,
I mean,
battery.
if this doesn't translate into 20 plus hours of battery life, then this is just a lot of talk.
Performance per watt. Take a drink, everybody.
Yeah.
I like how their graphs mean nothing.
Yeah.
You know, just there's no numbers, anything, no scalability.
Well, no, they compared it to the latest laptop chip. What do you mean?
Yes, there you
It
go.
was very
Sorry.
specific data.
Do you think that room is real, or they just mocked it up for the show? Nobody works there. It's an AR. I mean, it's interesting they're spending so much time convincing you that the chip is really good.
I mean, I just want to see a real world. I want to see how this thing runs x86 apps.
Well, it's going to be running. The big story that came out is that it's going to be running iOS apps.
Well, I think they meant iPad OS apps, but yeah.
So that'll be native, and then they'll.
Sure. But why? I mean, there's a couple that would be useful, but.
I think for them, it would be what apps are you using that we don't have on iOS, right? That we can't make better. They barely let you download anything without having to turn off that security thing. If it's not in their app store, you know, they don't want you downloading crap. 16-core design. Oh, so it's okay. So 8-core GPU, 8-core CPU, 16-core. What engine? What is the neural engine?
Not like that T1 piece of crap we put in the MacBook Air.
Yeah.
By the way, it does have a Thunderbolt / USB 4 controller.
Oh,
that's the first non-Intel chipset to support that.
That's interesting. That's actually very interesting.
Yep.
But they're ahead of the curve on that one.
Intel should have been like, yeah, we're not going to license that, but thanks.
It's the best chip we've ever created. Okay.
Well, what do you think he was going to say? It's the second best chip we've ever created.
I said it's okay. Guys,
it's not bad.
Fine. It's not bad.
Okay. Really?
All right, chip.
You don't think
Cheers.
the move from PowerPC to Intel was this profound? This company relies on shitting on everything it ever did in the past to make what it's doing now seem all the more impressive.
Okay, Big Sur.
Finally.
So the release candidate came out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So yep. I'm imagining this is getting out today, Tuesday, right?
They'll announce it today for sure. Yeah.
Great. Have you been using Big Sur?
I mean, I have it on my Mac. I don't use it every day. I think it looks great. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah. They did a very good job with it. They actually in the Finder, they screwed up the way that you could sort. There was an option that I like where it would actually give you a preview on the side, and still sorted by just the aesthetic of how it's sorted. They brought it back somewhat. It looks a lot better now, especially if you're image and video heavy. What do? Just peeked inside like it's a big secret?
You missed it. Was like a Luther Vandross moment there. Gonna make sweet love to the laptop.
Yeah. 1.9%. It is very responsive. This is a very good operating system. I got to tell you, the previous one that they had was not, as far as performance and just not a word, but smoothability. I want to call it smoothability. Apple could use that term. They could invent that. Much better. Ooh, the secret.
It's got fabric.
Yeah, I mean, that's Apple's advantage, right? They don't have legacy to adhere to and to satisfy. Right. They really, Apple started over how many years ago? 10 years ago? 14 years ago? When did they switch over?
Yeah, I don't remember. It was over 10 years ago.
Over 10 years ago. It's quite an advantage to have because it's one of the probably the most modern successful operating system. If you consider Windows, Windows is still supporting architecture from many years past. Because why people use Windows. That's why.
I feel like they should have done real world stuff up front and then padded it on with data at the back.
So Michael Brown,
because I don't really, all this stuff doesn't mean anything.
No, none of this means anything. Michael Brown on Chapman says, "Button that shirt, please." Yuck. You know what, Michael? I'm gonna say he needs another button undone.
I think over the course of the show, the buttons are going to start coming down.
Buttons on Craig's shirt.
By the end of this, we're going to be looking at his belly button.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to look deep in the camera and just zoom in, and he's like, "Andrew, did you compliment my hair today? What do you think of my hair today?" I tweet him every one of these events, and I'm like, "Hair's looking good, bro." Every single time he does this show. Nobody uses Pages. iMovie's actually very useful for people like me that don't know anything about editing.
Okay.
All right, so far nothing.
Well, we're starting to get to some of the meat here.
Is that what they're calling it now? So essentially, all the Apple apps, like QuickTime, iMovie, podcasts, messages, they've all been optimized for ARM. Interesting. Okay, so here's our question, right? This is what we asked before. Is Adobe going to be? Is Photoshop going to be running on here? Is Illustrator going to be running on here? I feel like they put them at like 1.25x to get through this as fast as possible. Great, a game that nobody's going to play.
Sure they did.
Photoshop early next year. That's not bad. So here's a question for you, Paul. These universal apps, this is going to be the platform even on the Intel devices, right?
Yeah, no, it's just recompiling your app and it will deliver both binaries, yeah.
So if you're using a Mac, for example, you're no longer, for example, going to download a DMG file or a standard Mac file.
Oh, I don't know what the file. It may still be a DMG file. I don't know.
Well, this makes it very easy for the developer because if you're developing Photoshop for the iPad, now you're going to develop for all Macs. You don't still have to develop.
Photoshop is an extreme example, but if you have an app on the Mac, you should be able to recompile, and I'm sure there'll be more to it, but the goal is it's as easy as possible, I guess.
But would the goal for them to be to support this, a universal app for the Mac, and also at the same time support whatever the traditional Mac version of that app is?
No. It's just the universal app is you already have a Mac app that runs on Intel, and you're recompiling it and now it has a second target for ARM. I mean, it's not going to be that simple. They're going to, as you go, you're going to run into problems, and they're going to have to fix them. But the goal is at the end of the day, you'll have one project that creates both types of apps, or maybe it'll be technically a single app, whatever. But it will run on both platforms. Not seeing a lot of tier 1 apps here, but okay, but whatever.
Photoshop. What was the other photo editing? Affinity.
Affinity.
That's
actually what I use on Windows.
It's very good.
Yeah.
They showed them and Photoshop. 8 times, 10 times, 40 times. They just need like a guy from Brooklyn in this thing. He's like, listen, it's like 80 times faster or something. That's what I want. Cinema 4D. So very much so trying to entice developers right now.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's
never a great
That's
sign.
why this will be successful.
You think that's why it's going to be?
If apps don't work, then why did we just do this?
Well, they did this with the last event at WWDC where they were really pushing the developers. So this is interesting that it's a hardware event and they're still targeting the developers. That to me means that there wasn't too much of an interest from the developers.
Right.
I mean, I'm speculating here, but generally, if it's a hardware event, you don't concentrate on enticing developers to develop for the hardware that you're about to release. Never a good sign.
Yeah.
Very interested in this, though.
Didn't see Microsoft in here anywhere.
Come on, unbutton that button. You got one more to go, bro. Why is he wet? Look at his shirt. What happened? He spilt something on his shirt. They have a pool in that thing. They have a pond. Such an obnoxious building. I mean, it's beautiful, but... Imagine that, like, this is it. All right, guys, that was our event.
And we're done.
See you later. We're done. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. It's going to look pretty familiar.
Are they bringing the Mac back? I'm getting goosebumps, Paul. I'm very nervous.
You'll be okay.
All right. There's those terrible keyboards that we don't want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, a lot of batteries in that thing, huh?
So it's a MacBook Air?
MacBook Air. Yeah. Wow, I'm very surprised by this. Very, very surprised by this.
I mean, is that any different from the current design?
No, I think... I don't know about the Thunderbolts on the side. I assume it's the same exact thing because they just refreshed this thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this spring.
I mean, it has to be super light.
I'm not really. I mean, it's full of battery.
Oh, maybe you're right.
It's the most popular Mac. My God, those poor people. The MacBook Air is actually pretty terrible.
Well, you know why though? People hang on to
because they use a Y series chip.
Yeah, they hang on to them forever. Also.
Well, not anymore. They won't.
No. You know what? If you're buying a MacBook Air, I think this is the way to go. This is where you go with this. Rob in our channel. I never understood why they had the Y series chip in these before.
Because otherwise it would have been too good compared to the MacBook Pro. It's just like the Porsche 924S was like limited to only go 130 miles an hour because otherwise it would have been better than a 944S.
Mm-hmm.
huge raw libraries.
I mean, you know what? It may perform better than the Y series chip, right?
Yeah,
It probably will.
Yep.
So this is going to be. They're not going to be lying when they say they're getting better performance.
Running emulated software. I don't know. We'll see.
5 times faster graphics.
What we really care about is what this does to the fan and what this does to battery life.
Did you see
and
a
performance,
fan?
obviously.
Did you see a fan in the compiling of the components?
No, I did not, actually. Then the best-selling Windows laptop in its class.
Well, what would be in its class? What would be the best-selling
Windows?
Best-selling Windows laptop would probably be a mid-range laptop.
Sure. What I want to talk about is the fan, not the neural engine. I need that ML performance.
It's faster than the HP Stream.
Yes. Yeah, probably is, yeah.
Okay, because it's system on it's embedded. So
there you go. No fan.
yeah, there you go.
See that? That, by the way, that is a humongous improvement over the current Air.
Oh, absolutely. Because you know that
the
thing is
MacBook
screaming.
Air is like a wind turbine.
Yeah, that fan is on at max.
Yeah, so it's half again as much battery on video playback.
How long did they say the battery life is?
It was 18 hours on video playback compared to 12.
All day battery life. Cheers.
Well,
Cheers,
video
everybody.
playback.
No, Paul, don't dive in. Just believe everything that they say.
It's about real world's about half that.
8 hours.
That's
that is all day.
Whatever. It's still a big improvement over the current Air.
What do you get on your everyday laptop? Well, yours would be different. You don't unplug yours. You probably
I use different laptops. Good battery life, I would say, is anywhere from 8 to 10.
Yeah.
You know.
I bet the camera is still 720p in that thing, says
Yes.
Ryan. Damn right.
Yeah, but thanks to the ML improvements in the M1 chip, Andrew, it looks like it's 4K.
Damn right, it's 720p. They're hanging on.
Mm-hmm. So it's literally the same exact form factor.
Yeah, there's nothing different.
But no fans. So if there's no fans, that means there was more room for battery. The reason it gets better battery life is there was more battery.
Yeah.
There you go.
$999. Wow.
$9,000.
Okay. So $1,000 price. So there's no. I wonder if there's upgrade. Like you could upgrade it. You know what I mean? Like, is that the base model, or is that everything is the base now? Because
it is. You can't upgrade. Chip. It says up to 16 gigs of RAM.
So you could get up to 16 gigs of RAM. And that's it
at buy time, right? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Not a bad device. I'm going to tell you that.
Well, by the way, here's a comparison. So look up the battery life of the Microsoft Surface Pro X. It's going to be less than that.
Okay, let's see. Up to 15 hours. Based on typical Surface device usage. I don't know what that means.
Sure.
We took out the fucking fan. What did he say?
We're crazy.
We're nuts over here at Apple. Look how crazy we are. Man, we don't need one.
We're not going to still talk about the M1, are we? Come on, guys. Come on. Can we move on to the next computer now?
I'm so glad we did this today.
Jeez, look at these.
Just compiling stuff.
Oh, I was hoping that was going to be a webcam. What's going on? What are they building? A camera? What is this? So there's a fan. The Mac Mini.
No, that's the Mac Mini, yeah. That's what I was.
That looks suspiciously like a fan.
It's non-functional, just aesthetics.
I mean, it's a little odd. Like, here's the new Mac Mini. It's exactly the same as the old Mac Mini from a form factor perspective.
So next year, it seems like the redesigns are coming in. It's blasting off, Paul. I told you something's going to blast off here. Imagine she's like, watch this, and she just presses a button and she turns into the Mac Mini.
Like a transformer.
Yeah.
I mean, so the Mac Mini was not one of the machines that was rumored to be introduced today, by the way. I had heard it was MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and 16-inch MacBook Pro.
So before I dropped it, before we went on the air, I kind of alluded that they would be putting it into a Mac Mini.
Oh, it's because you're in John Prosser's back pocket and you know things.
3 times faster. You know what? I think this device in that Mac Mini, even those i7s,
Yeah.
I think they're Y series. Are they Y series in the Mac Minis also?
Mm-mm.
They're
I don't believe so. I think it was all Core i5, i3, i5, i7. I think.
So let's see.
I mean, the Mac Mini is actually kind of expensive for what it is.
And they weren't originally, right? When they came out?
Yeah. I mean, they're always, yeah. I mean, they kind of got more expensive. You can't even look at it now. Let's see. i3, i5, i7.
Okay, so this is the first device that actually has a decent Intel chipset in them. But again, nobody's buying this.
Yeah, but this is integrated graphics, you know?
Look at that comparison. You want this piece of crap HP? Or do you want this beautiful hockey puck?
Look, first of all, no one's buying desktop towers anymore, you know, like whatever. But other than like gamers or whatever. But this is classic Apple advertising. Like, look at this hunk of junk that our competitors are selling. Yeah. And we have this sleek little box.
And they'll always have this advantage, and they know how to use it. Wow. He's doing his accounting on that thing.
Yeah. They have said ML in this presentation 118 times. ML.
Oh, look. Fan.
So there's a fan in this one.
Well, so tell me, Mr. Tim Cook, if that's a real name, why do you have a fan in this device? Thunderbolt 4.
Well, yeah, and I mean, is that what the exhaust looks like on the current version? That doesn't look familiar.
Yeah, they refreshed it a little while ago.
Yeah. I mean, it has this. Honestly, the fan design is exactly the same as the current version. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it looks like.
$699.
Yeah, it is the same. It's exactly the same. Same. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
$699. Okay, so are they eliminating Intel from this lineup?
Probably not right away. Well, who should? I mean, we'll see. I guess.
But I mean, they'll sell their old stuff. Obviously,
but you understand, right? They're making more on each one of these. They sell at the same price.
Oh, tremendous!
Right? Yeah,
way more. 60% more energy effective.
16 gigs. If I'm not mistaken.
Up to 16.
Up to 16.
And up to 2
but I thought the current version. No, you could do 32 or 64 gigs of RAM on the current Mac Mini. So that's a lot less RAM.
They probably realize that maybe like 5 people have ever upgraded beyond 16 gigs on that thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Well, they also, for those people, they should be buying a Mac Pro, and those cost a lot more money.
Because I have 32 gigs on my work computer, but I have 16 on this, and 16 is more than enough. On this one.
Oh, guys, I didn't catch it. Was the new processor called M1? Because you haven't said that a lot.
What does the M stand for? Macintosh 1?
Yeah, it's going to be Mac. All right, so this is going to be what? A MacBook Pro?
Oh, no. No.
It's got to be, right? Or an iMac? Probably a MacBook
Well,
Pro.
I know that the 13-inch they're going to announce on the Pro.
As a fan,
Yep. Maybe the
it's
double
affordable.
processor. Dual chips?
Oh, so, okay, so I always wondered about that. How were they going to handle the Pro lineup?
That's what I'm thinking too. Looks just like the old one, but it's the new MacBook Pro.
That guy's another. I mean, like, seriously.
She's going to turn into a MacBook Pro now. Watch.
Yeah. She's doing pretty good for an intern.
Yeah. Is she an intern?
No,
is that what it says?
She looks like she's 12.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, this is someone, product designer's daughter will come in and...
She's like, hits a home run. They're like, oh, crap.
Some big-ass bezels on there.
So wait, 3 pounds. Is that more or less?
No, that's about the same, I bet. It's the most of the weight's going to be based on battery, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is obviously the form factor and all that.
2.8 times faster performance?
So here's what they're not doing, Andrew. This thing, by not changing the form factors, this is not impressive from a screen-to-body ratio, right? Those are big bezels.
Oh, tremendous bezels,
and that's one thing. I mean, for all the problems with Surface Pro X, if you look at that thing, tiny bezels, it's nice.
Bezel-less is so 2015, Paul. We're going back. We want more bezels.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so they keep saying this, but here's what I want to know. Take a current generation i5 MacBook Pro and compare it to this. Who wins? That's what I want. It's possible that this could be faster than a current Gen i5 MacBook Pro. It's very possible.
She said performance is spectacular. What is your problem?
18 times faster. 36 times faster.
Also, ML. See, it's that ML performance that matters the most.
Yeah.
It's the world's best compact laptop for ML.
There we go. Here's a fan that's nowhere near the processor.
No, that's no. That's the MacBook Air design, Andrew.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Cheers. Battery life. Bet nobody else is doing coverage like this. Why would they use
a different metric? Oh, there it is, 20. Okay, I was going to say, they said 18 in video. This one's 20.
You know what? That's very impressive because my wife has a 13-inch.
They never said wireless web on the other one, though. Why would they introduce that here?
What did they say on this one?
They had a wireless web battery life figure. They never said that for the MacBook Air.
Well, obviously, you're plugging in the MacBook Air. It's not wireless. Everybody walks around with an Ethernet adapter and plugs it into this thing.
But, yeah, but.
Studio quality mic array? You know what? I'm going to call shenanigans on that statement. 1080p. Are we talking 1080p? So, according to Amazon, Frosty Winnipeg said, the best-selling Windows laptop is a Ryzen 3 laptop.
Oh, that's garbage.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
Oh, wait a minute. It's the same 720p camera. You just said shenanigans. Drink. Cheers. You're missing out on the fun, Paul.
I think Big Sir is sexist. Why don't they call it Big Ma'am?
Yeah. Yeah. Big Ma'am. No. It's S-U-R, Paul.
Oh, it's the French Sir.
The French Sir. $12.99.
$12.99. So it's the same starting price,
same
right?
price.
$12.99.
Yeah.
I mean, I think keeping these things, by the way, also only up to 16 gigs of RAM. Right?
So
MacBook
we now
Pro
know
goes
that
to 32, doesn't it?
We now know that that's an architectural issue. That's all they could do, right? That's what it would mean.
Well, but that also means they need to keep some existing devices in market. They can't just have these.
Yeah. Studio quality mics. Okay, so they
what, though?
realized that their mics, the 25-cent microphone that they put in this thing is now a 50-cent mic, and they're gonna get better performance.
In so many ways.
Not in all ways,
but not in
though.
the RAM ways.
Yeah.
It has an advanced camera ISP, Andrew. So
okay, so it's the same 720p resolution, but they're
using Pixelmator to make it look like it's
yeah
1080p.
Yeah. Think we got an Apple TV today? It's been a while. No, I mean, it's been what, 2 years?
Think they'll introduce Apple tags today? It's been a while.
Well, is that the one more thing? God, John, if they don't announce the Apple tag, John Prosser is going to lose his freaking mind. Because he's been talking about Apple tags to me for like a year now.
Right. We are thrilled. When are these things going to ship?
Well, it's like next week. 2 weeks pre-order? Wow.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Okay. Order now and get it next week.
Here we go. November 12th on the MacBook or Mac OS.
Thursday. Okay.
Big, sir. I was promised a Mac Pro that was half the size.
Silicon. Yes, you do. You have a very long way to go.
So,
ooh.
Great. I wonder, so some reviewers must have this stuff, and I think that's where we're going to find the real data on performance and battery life.
Are we going to find the real data?
They never said anything about x64 versus, well, I guess Mac is technically 64-bit already, right? They did this transition. They never really talked about running iPad apps on it, per se. I mean,
well, they did for like a second.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's the visual artist is like, it's got 8 cores in it. Yeah, what is that? Right, thank you. Paint a picture, honey. Don't.
Yeah,
it's got 8 cores in it. Oh my God! What? This
there has
company.
To be one more thing. There is a one more thing.
They have. The developer is the one who should be like, how many cores are in this thing?
MacOS has been 64-bit since Catalina. Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Oh, jeez. So I will say, a MacBook Air that's fanless is suddenly very interesting, right?
It is very interesting. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Did the MacBook have a fan or no? I can't remember.
The MacBook did not.
Did not have a fan.
Yeah, that's right.
And
the MacBook Air does, and they really screwed it up in the latest generation.
Yeah, that MacBook totally shit the bed. But I'm shocked that they didn't announce a MacBook. Why
I'm
not
glad they didn't, honestly, because they would have had to have gone back to that terrible keyboard, and that would have just been a huge mistake. Also, by the way, they're kind of sending a message when they don't do a crappy low-end computer.
AirPod Studios are coming soon.
I can't wait until they talk about the M2 last year and they crap all over the M1 because it's such a piece of junk.
It's 5 times faster.
I can't even believe anyone bought an M1. I feel bad for you. This new chip is so much better.
Is that what they're going to say? Is that what Tim Cook's going to say?
Yeah.
Ooh, he's serious now. He stood up.
Yep.
I told you he's going to rip his shirt off. Watch.
You should walk over and start lacing on boxing gloves, and then he's going to take on a guy in a bunny suit and just kick the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Is he wearing riding stirrups? What are those pants?
What's
going on
pants? There? Yeah. He's an equestrian, Paul. Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to 2021.
Yeah.
I think
that's no idea. Well, that was actually...
That was it?
I mean, honestly, if you skip a bunch of that junk in the beginning,
Yeah,
it was
it's
kind of
45
like 30
minutes.
minutes of content.
You know what? Great way to start What the Tech now. That was very
That's
good.
interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let me tweet out that we're going to start What the Tech now. What the Tech?
Oh,
that was
hold on.
it? Oh, he's back. Look. Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Remember this guy?
They better have the Mac guy come in.
Isn't
Justin
he famous? Oh, God. I wonder if this is going to be production health and safety, daily health screening and temperature checks. Periodic
Yeah, you pretty much
testing
got
was
to do
provided
this
for
now when you
presenters.
make a video with people together.
So people don't crap all over you.
Although
Tim Cook wasn't
there were
wearing a
never two
mask in
people
that
together
video.
in this whole video.
They weren't even real. They were all just AIs.
MLs, we call them.
MLs.
I've got to get all the MLs.
All right.
Which Mac has the most MLs?
All right, Paul. You ready to start the show? Let's do this. Okay. Cupertino. Perfect. All right. You ready, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, can I run to the restroom really quickly? Let me do that.
Unbelievable.
All right, let's do that. Hang on. All right.
I don't know.
Something.
I don't know.
All right. Here we go. We'll do something quick. All right, Paul. We can begin in 3, a 2, and a 1. What the Tech is brought to you by Text Expander. Text Expander helps you communicate smarter. Visit textexpander.com/podcast for 20% off your first year. Hey everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Zarian. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Thurrott. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
We just finished watching the Apple event.
Mm-hmm.
They announced.
Did you?
What's the name of their chip, Paul? An M.
I can't remember. I feel like they didn't say it enough.
I mean, so they said M1 about 80,000 times.
Yeah.
So
See, it was like a drinking game. Like, let's see how many times. It's like that scene in Super Troopers where he says meow all the time at the, when he pulls someone over. It's like how many times,
Well, I was actually having wine during the event because I was taking a drink.
It is Tuesday after all.
It is Tuesday after all at noon, at 1 o'clock. So here I was having some wine and I had to stop because every time they discuss how wonderful the M1 chip is and how it's X amount of times faster, I was taking a drink and I had to stop doing that because that was the entire 45-minute presentation that they had. Very interesting. No tags. They didn't announce the tags. They didn't announce the headphones. the studio
That's good
headphones
though.
that they have.
I like that they kept this one kind of clean and on point. You know.
Yeah. So let's go through this quickly because I know that it's a lot to talk about here, but I want to kind of summarize this. So Apple essentially said they announced 3 products, right? The Mac Mini's getting this thing, the MacBook Air's getting this, and the 13-inch MacBook Pro's going to be getting this. Very interesting because the Mac Mini is $100 cheaper.
Is it?
I believe so. Got this on
They're all the same
Thorot.com.
price.
No, I got this on Thorot.com, Paul.
Okay. Well, those people don't know what they're talking about.
More importantly, though, the new Mac Mini is $100 cheaper, starting at $699. So, so the Mac Mini's getting this thing, which interestingly
excuse
enough,
the bright light in my face because one of the things that's I think we need to look at, Andrew, is whether or not they're going to continue offering the Intel versions. And so they do on the MacBook Pro. So 13-inch MacBook Pro, the 2 base models are M1 chips. And then you can move up from there. Or is that a 15-inch? No, 13-inch. Yeah. Or you can move up from there to a Core i5.
Okay.
And then beyond that, I'm sure you can configure it, right? So that's interesting. So MacBook Air is all M1. MacBook Mini, there's one Intel configuration, so you can still get that. And I think in both cases, that is so that you can get configurations with more RAM, because there are going to be some people who need more than the 16 ceiling that currently exists with the M1. But the MacBook Air is only M1.
So here's my question. I buy this thing. I want to install Excel. What do I do?
Right. Yep.
They did not touch on that.
It has Rosetta 2.
It has Rosetta 2. But they did not talk about that whatsoever. So what do? I go to Microsoft's site. I download Excel.
Andrew, they said in some cases the software will even run faster than it does natively.
I know. I
think one of those cases is not Excel.
It is not Excel and not Word.
Look, those things should work. This is the open question. Hopefully there are reviewers out there using this now and they will tell us whether there are pauses or stutters or whatever. And then eventually, of course, Microsoft Excel and the rest of Office will be made into a universal app. It's just a matter of time. But I actually did find it notable that Microsoft was not part of this event at all.
That means something.
They are absolutely one of the top 2 Mac developers out there, right? They have to be.
Who would
them
it
and
be?
Adobe.
It'd be them. Yeah. That's about it.
Has to be.
What do you use on your Mac? I'm curious what applications you tend to use.
Well, I mean, actually, no, it's in the other room. Well, obviously, I have Office
Excel,
installed.
Outlook.
Yeah, and you know, it kind of mirrors what I do on Windows in the sense that, I mean, I install Microsoft Edge and I do a lot of web apps. I use we talked about this during the presentation, Affinity Photo. I used to use Adobe Photoshop Elements, but I bought Affinity Photo on both platforms. And, you know, that's fantastic. And then it's really just the same, you know, there's a couple little apps. I mean, I use Microsoft Paint a lot on Windows, and there's a Paint-like program that's a third-party app that I don't remember the name, but I think I found it. I think it's in the Mac App Store, but you know, and then I use the text editor that's built in the Mac. Is that true? No, I don't. I'm sorry. No, I use
third party.
It's a Markdown editor, and I think it's called Macdown. Yeah, I think it's called Macdown.
MacDown.
It's something like that. I'm sorry,
open source Markdown editor. Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's really not that different from what I do on Windows, honestly, and that's semi by design.
So it's pretty much the same with me. I use the same exact applications I use on Windows that I use on the Mac. There's really nothing that now, you know, a couple of years ago, probably a different story. The only thing I do is I use iMovie. If I'm using the Mac, if I need to do a quick edit, and I'm not talking about the actual editing, I'm saying chopping a clip in the beginning of the end, I use iMovie, which I don't use, obviously, on Windows. But they let's run through this. The big story here is that this is their ARM processor, their first ARM-based processor for the Mac. They're calling it the M1. It's a variant of what we currently have in the Mac, in the iPads. they didn't really talk about a comparison between Intel chips and this. So that to me means they're not performing that great compared to what's in the current computers. It probably performs better than the Y series, and that's why I'm very interested to see what the reviewers are saying. Like you said, if how this does compared to a typical, Intel Y series MacBook Air.
Listen, that one I suspect will probably be a pretty good comparison, right? And then of course the other issue is going to be, MacBook Pro with up to 16 gigs RAM or Mac Mini with up to 16 gigs RAM. Are those things going to be comparable, like a Core i5, Core i7? We'll see. I find it a little hard to believe. Yeah.
I mean, when you put this in the 16-inch MacBook, what the hell are you going to do then?
So you made a comment at one point when they were showing the exploded internal view of the MacBook Pro that there were 2 processors. Is that true?
I said, well, I was saying, are there 2? I didn't.
Are there 2? Okay, I wasn't sure if you saw that. Okay.
Are there 2?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excuse the white glare in my face. We're still working with the. Oh, not 16. God, why is the site so white?
Why is the site so white? I'm very curious to see how this is going to compare, because at the end of the day, your Pro line, I know that it's not 100% accurate, right? But your Pro line is catered towards more horsepower needed user bases. You know what I mean? Like you're targeting photo editors, video editors, production wise, things like that. I don't know if everybody buying these devices are actually using it that way, but that's the intention. You buy a MacBook Pro because you want more power.
These are integrated graphics machines, right? For one thing, there's no dedicated graphics.
Okay, so that's a bad thing to begin with. I'll tell you why.
Well, but I'm sure the low end MacBook Air, MacBook Pro 13 2 weeks ago had integrated graphics. It's whatever. It is interesting to me that MacBook Air versus MacBook Pro for the past 2 generations. MacBook Air has had a significantly less powerful processor. It was one of the things that kind of artificially held it back. Now, all 3 of these machines have exactly the same processor. I don't believe there's any difference, right? It's one chipset, and it's available in all 3 of the machines. That's interesting. Now, the fact that the MacBook Pro and the Mac Mini both require active cooling with a fan says something different is happening.
Well, throttling. Right? They're throttling the chip.
They're doing something, yeah.
Yeah.
So the MacBook Air thus will not offer the same performance that you see on a MacBook Pro. But we don't exactly understand what they're doing yet, because they never discussed that I was aware of.
So Apple has been throttling the chips for some time now. Do you remember that there was a whole issue with when they went to the Touch Bar 13-inch MacBook Pro? They were talking about the i7 that they were running in there, but they were tuning it down.
I know, but that's Intel though. I mean, you don't have to throttle a processor if you have different processors. Like the Y series processor is just crappier. It's just not as good.
No, but if you're doing it for heat reasons and power consumption reasons, then it makes a lot of sense if you're putting a throttled down version of the same chip in your fanless PC or fanless laptop.
I don't remember the source of this, but because of the way that chips and products were introduced this year, Apple, I think it might have been the iPad Air came out first with the A14 or something like that. And then the iPhone 12 came out with the same chip. And that chip is throttled on the iPhone because it's a smaller enclosure and there's less ability to do thermals there. Whereas in the iPad, for some reason, like that thing actually runs a little faster. So if you look at like benchmark results, same chipset, I think this is off the top of my head, but I think the iPad Air, I think it was the iPad Air, it actually runs faster. So you can imagine they're doing that in the Macs. So they have they're like, look, we're going to do this in such a way that we don't have a fan. It's going to be passive cooling only. That means we are going to throttle this chip. We have to. It has to be.
Listen, I'll never forget. I'll give you a great example. I bought this terrible Toshiba laptop that a year. I'm talking. I can tell you, 2002. Bought this terrible, and I bought something that was like heavy duty in horsepower. Right, this thing was this thick. It was a 17-inch Toshiba laptop. I went through 2 separate class action lawsuits And they gave me 2 separate laptops. But like for 6 years, I didn't have to buy a laptop because I kept getting new Toshibas. That's how bad this whole thing was. And when I bought this thing, the guy at Comp USA, I'm gonna say, right, or Best, I think it was Comp USA, came over. He's like, hey, listen, this thing really overheats, so you should buy this. And he handed me, it was almost like a pad with fans underneath to cool the computer. Are you gonna need that with this thing? Right. You know, the fanless one. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how the performance actually is. Gonna be very difficult to convince me to give up my Intel based MacBook Pros.
Well, especially right away. I mean, it's these things. These are not. The more I look at this, the more you sort of realize how they're positioning them. So, for example, you know this, but in the MacBook Pro line, 13-inch, there's actually 2 major versions of it. There's the version that has the 2 Thunderbolt ports on one side, and then you step up a bit and you get 4 with 2 on each side.
Oh wait,
the version that they, right?
Really?
Yeah, with Intel.
With Intel, yes, with Intel.
Right. So the entry level MacBook Pro 13 only had 2 ports on the left side. Once you stepped up past that, you spent a lot more money, but you got the 4 ports. So the version they just announced with the M1 chip is a 2-port only version. So it's basically taking the place of the entry level MacBook Pro, and you can still buy an Intel Core i5 or i7 version.
Okay, so how about the 13-inch MacBook? How about the 13-inch?
That's the 13-inch. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, not the MacBook Air. I thought you were talking about the MacBook
No, this is the MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Air is only 2 ports. That's always been the case, since they moved to Thunderbolt. The MacBook Pro, the way it worked yesterday was the entry-level version, the one that was $12.99, had 2 ports. And that was it. And it was probably a Core i5 or whatever. And then if you upgraded past that, some of the higher-end SKUs, which they still sell, have 4 ports, and they're more expensive. But the M1 version of this machine is just the low-end version. So it's the 2-port Thunderbolt version. So it's only, they replaced the MacBook Air. They replaced the entry-level MacBook Pro 13. They still have the MacBook Pro 13 with Intel with the 4 ports and your choice of processors. And, of course, the MacBook 16, MacBook Pro 16 is still Intel, all Intel.
So something interesting, they're both using 61-watt power supplies.
Both of the portables.
Yeah. So the i5 i7s and the
M1s.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is interesting to me that they're using the same power brick, because Apple's very, very, like on the 16-inch. However, I'll tell you, they use a much larger.
Right.
Let me just see what this is, because I have a 16-inch. No, 96 watt. 96 watt.
96. Yeah, so it's almost half again as big.
Yeah. So
it's humongous. That thing must be the size of a Mac Mini.
Oh, hold on.
With like a plug on it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
This is not the one. This is a smaller one I'm using. So it's bigger than this. It's about this big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure. It is literally a 720p FaceTime HD.
It is,
camera.
huh?
That's
so what are they doing with this? What are they doing with the video?
They must be doing some kind of software. Listen, this problem has been solved, but I think the issue here is,
obviously,
even though there are newer parts that are better, they're literally using the exact same. They're using as much of the same stuff as they can. I bet these bodies are identical. I bet they were like, just make it fit in this.
Yeah. And
then we'll next gen we'll do it up,
Because look at this thing, right? I'm going to hold this up for people who have not experienced this megalith of a computer.
Yeah, it's huge.
This thing is huge, right? This thing is gigantic. It's very thin though. If you see how thin this thing is, it's heavy and thin. The current, this is a 15-inch. The 16-inch is way thicker and way heavier.
Right.
So I'm curious if, when they go to this form factor, right? When they go to the 16-inch, are they going to still be as thick as they need to be? Because why would you need it to be that thick?
Right.
You're using less power, so obviously they made it thicker because of the air circulation and the keyboard. So I'm curious if they're going to find a way around this. I don't know. I'm very interested by this, and I'm not disturbed, but it's a little upsetting that
Yeah.
We don't have more information on such a giant leap of a product. This is essentially telling us that they're
I was
eliminating
expecting
Intel.
a little more, hard data.
Dude, they're eliminating Intel from their lineup. This is a whole new world that they're in. This is going to lead to something totally different where the next probably the next 2-3 years, there's going to be no more Intel-based MacBooks. They're all going to be on their own architecture. And how is that going to affect me, someone that has been using... listen, I'm saying me, right? It's a small percentage compared to the PC user. But this is a learning curve for many people to have to go over. I use a PC, so for me, I'm fine. But for many people, they use specific software, specific hardware. This is what they know. This is what they like.
Yeah, it was a little light on that stuff.
Very light.
I really thought we were going to just, nail that. And I'm a little confused, but.
Very quick event. We did not hear anything about the tags that have been rumored and have been leaked.
Well, yeah, but it was a Mac event. I mean, that's fine.
Are we going to get another event with these devices being released? Because that was supposed to be for the holidays.
I don't think so.
So we'll see. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the actual real life battery life is going to be. They're talking about 18 hours battery life in the.
But for video playback, right? So, for the MacBook Pro 13, they gave a figure that was. Man, I don't even remember the number, so I guess it doesn't matter. But they talked about, I think it was 20 hours for video playback, and then I want to say 13 for some kind of web something. I don't remember the term they used, but that's probably close.
Yeah,
wireless web. Yeah. That's probably closer to real world. Now, wireless web is it means you're running a web browser, nothing else. Most people who are getting work done are going to be, Word or Excel or Apple Pages or whatever they're using, and they're switching back and forth between something they're writing or working on and some other stuff. So I suspect these will, except under like heavy emulated workloads, so that will change it too. Well, ultimately will be battery life improvements over, the Intel versions for sure. But, compatibility, performance, especially of emulated apps, is still kind of an open question. And how does that stuff impact battery life? You talked about Microsoft Office, so I'm going to run the emulated version of Office. I got Outlook open, I got Word open, I got my web browser open, doing work. Is it 6 hours now? I mean, where does it land? We don't know. We don't
know. So this thing ships next week. You could order today. Right now,
Yep.
The Mac store is open. The Apple store is open. You could go and order it. Listen, I would not purchase this device if anybody were to ask me. I would wait.
Yeah.
This is a first-gen Apple product. I always advise against a first-gen Apple product. Obviously, this chip has been used in a multitude of devices already. We've seen it in essentially everything.
Yeah, but that's a different beast.
It is a different beast. But
also, you notice they didn't call it like the M14, right? It's like they didn't want to tie it to anything. They want you to separate that in your head, I think. This is the first gen. It's really like the 14th gen, but they want you to think of it as a new thing.
Well, you know what? Put this thing out there. Get the kinks out. Have the M2 come out. Have a touchscreen MacBook Air.
Sure.
And there you go. Now you're starting over. Now you have a whole different. Now it makes a little bit more sense.
This will give them the perfect excuse to do touchscreens, because they can say, now because of this processor, it's so awesome, we can finally do this thing. We wanted to do all along, but the Intel stuff wouldn't let us do it.
Yeah. Anything else that stood out to you, Paul, from this? Because really, there was not much other than them giving bizarre statistics 2 times faster, 3 times faster, best in class. It's numbers that we don't really understand. And by the way, I'm not against it. I think this is great, right? If we're talking about a company that could kind of control everything and get the most bang for their buck, this is the company to do it. We've seen them do it on the iPhone. We've seen them do it on the iPad. The reason why they've been successful is that they control all aspects of the hardware. If they could implement that in the PC on the computer side and be as successful as they have been, you know what? That's great for everybody. But today's not the day. They're not doing that now.
Right, right. I just
This,
think there are too many open questions,
yeah,
and you raised a bunch of them. Microsoft Office. I mean, when you, in fact, maybe that's what you were alluding to because you asked me like, well, what apps do you run? I mean, what's the schedule for the apps that I use being upgraded to support this thing natively? And in the meantime, what's that experience going to be like? They literally never sat down at a Mac and said, hey, look, this is Microsoft Excel.
yeah.
It's not native. This is what it looks like. This is what the performance is like. You see how snappy it is or whatever. Like it's a little alarming that there was nothing like that. There was a lot of talk, grids of chip design things and, whatever, but these are not like I made fun of the visual artist who's like, it's got 8 cores. Visual artist doesn't care about cores.
Yeah.
Visual artist wants to sit down at a tool and have it work.
You know what everybody tells me. So I work with a bunch of graphic designers, right? Video editors, graphic designers, producers, Suncast, John, right? You know what they give a crap about? They don't care about your core infrastructure. They care about how fast can I edit this.
Yeah.
I mean, I work at a company where we have 5 graphic designers, videographer. These are people that edit video, edit photos. This is what they do.
Yeah, you don't want it to get in the way. Ideally, you just don't notice it. It just works.
I've never been told they don't have enough cores. You know what I hear? Hey, Andrew, listen, it's taking me an hour to render this. Can we upgrade?
Right.
That's what they care about.
It's like Scotty on the USS Enterprise. Yes. He's like, I can't handle it anymore. It only has 8 cores.
It only has 16 gigs of RAM. I don't know what to do.
I don't know why you went with the M1 version. I need 32. I told you that.
It was great. And my editor came into my office the other day and said that. And he goes, listen, Andrew, I'm running an i7, but it's a 7th gen i7.
Yeah.
And I need more cores. I need more.
Right. Hyper-threading is not enough.
Yeah. And I spent, you know what I did? I spent $12,000 and bought him a Mac Pro. With wheels. Wheels. Yeah. So, listen, I think this is a step in the right direction for the company as far as what they want to do. I don't know if it's a step in the right direction for the consumer, for their dedicated user base. If you are buying this product to buy a MacBook Air, you're going to be more than happy. You're going to be fine. It's going to be fast enough. It's going to be light enough. The battery's going to be fine.
By the way, that was kind of the point. Like, if you look at the low end of their product lineup, Mac, obviously, MacBook Air, the entry-level MacBook Pro, and the entry-level Mac Minis. Sorry. That's what they replaced. In the cases where those product lines have higher end versions, you can still buy the Intel version. Yeah. And you can see that in the, the fact that this chipset obviously only supports 16 gigabytes of RAM. So that's something they're going to have to fix before they can transition the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, next year's the big story here, right? Next year is the story. If there's a reason why, it's obviously the reason is they just upgraded these things. So they have the latest gen Intel processor. But next year, if they hang on and they still produce Intel-based processors, we know the answer is that, listen, this is going to take a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take some time to get up there. They'll eventually do it, but how is it going to compare in the long run against a PC that's running Intel? Because then that's going to be the decision maker for me. It's no longer going to be the aesthetics
compared to the
best-selling
PC in its class. It's doing great. So I don't.
And what is that PC? Someone tell me. I want that data.
Yeah.
Tell me it's
a Packard Bell G5,
a Gateway 2000,
H7Q.
Yeah.
With as a CRT screen.
Unbelievable. So that was the Apple event. There was not a whole lot. I mean, we're having fun here because we didn't have a lot of information. If there was a ton of information here, we'd probably be talking about it. But other than what we just laid out for you, there's nothing more to it.
Actually, one more observation. They brought back the PC guy from the old Mac versus I'm a Mac, I'm a PC ads.
They did.
This probably makes sense because to the average consumer, they've never heard of Windows 10 on ARM. For people who are kind of involved as tech enthusiasts or part of the Microsoft community, whatever, we were very anxious to see how this thing would compare to Windows 10 on ARM, which is Microsoft's attempt to bring its own desktop operating system to this more modern kind of portable mobile platform. When I saw him, the first thing I thought was, well, they're going to draw some comparison between Windows 10 on ARM and this thing, and there's many ways they could do that: better compatibility, better performance, blah blah blah. But they didn't. Like, this thing was old-fashioned, like the Mac guy was, or the PC guy was back in 2003 or whatever year when they were actually on TV, and he was talking about, fans and how you have to plug it in because it doesn't get great battery life, and that was it was in its own way was just as dishonest as those I'm a Mac, I'm a PC ads were back in the day, because PCs like Macs have evolved dramatically, and we have PCs that get great battery life, awesome performance, mobile performance, etc. But I thought that was kind of interesting. They were it was obviously a throwback and kind of a callback or whatever, which is fine. It was cute and everything.
By the way, that to me means this is going to be the holiday campaign, right?
Maybe, but I think it was notable that only one of the two guys was in it.
Well, the other guy's famous, right?
Well, John, what's that guy's name? The guy was the PC is just as famous. I mean, I think he's maybe more famous.
What, the PC guy?
Yeah. Yeah, John. What's his name? John. I get John Goodman stuck in my head.
John Hodgman.
Hodgman. Yeah.
Hodgman. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Very interesting. Guys, we're going to talk about the Xbox now. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for us to discuss the Xbox and everything that Paul could talk about with the Xbox now. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I want to remind everybody, if you enjoy the show, enjoy this bonus content that we did prior to broadcasting now with What the Tech, you can fund us at patreon.com/whatthetech. You can fund us as little as $1 per episode, and it gives you a bonus show and encourages us to continue doing these kind of shows. Also, Thurrott.com, Thurrott Premium, Paul. What do you know about Thurrott Premium? You know anything about that?
I know a little bit about it. What do you want to know?
Thurrott Premium, go sign up there. You get access to all these great stories, great articles, great access on Thurrott.com. I'm a premium member. You get access. Let's see. Let me see what your latest premium story is. I'm logged in, so I can't tell. What's your latest premium? Where's your premium?
Called Inconsistency from yesterday.
There you go. Yeah, Inconsistency. It's from yesterday. I got to read this one, actually. I have not seen this, so I'm going to bookmark it like an old man. That's what I just did. I bookmarked this story.
My biggest pet peeve.
Inconsistency? That's me.
It's better to have tech that never works than to have tech that works sometimes, because there's nothing more frustrating than inconsistency.
I agree with you. All right. So let's talk about the Xbox. A lot of people want your opinion on this. Yeah. You had a early unit that was sent to you. You were able to show the aesthetics, the outside of it, but you could not talk about what's going on with it. So you've had a couple of weeks with this device. Now you could talk about it.
Yeah, I actually have two of them. I have both of them. So I have an Xbox Series X and a Series S. There's a lot of really good stuff going on here. There's a couple of concerns, right? So performance, awesome. The thermals are clearly awesome. These things are silent. They don't get hot. They don't make fan noise. They're wonderful. My previous generation Xbox One X, which was fine, sounded like a jet turbine after an hour or two of gaming. Like it was, and you couldn't go near the thing. It was hotter than hell. But these things, they've really kind of figured that stuff out. There's a nice backward compatibility story. The basic gist of it is even games that are not optimized for the new console will be better in some way than they were on previous gen consoles, meaning they might look better. They have an auto HDR mode they can apply better performance because of the velocity architecture, super fast SSDs, and so forth. But games that are optimized are going to be even better. And optimizing a game for the new consoles can take different paths, but there are many different things you can do. You can have new assets, 4K, 60 frames a second on the X. Quick resume, all these, smart delivery to get those features, et cetera. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So it's all good, but a couple of problems. So the problems with the new consoles include such things as there's no such thing as console exclusives, which honestly I kind of like as a gamer, but that also means there's like nothing new exciting to play right now. So a lot of the games that Microsoft is promoting came out like a year ago, but they've been optimized now. So now they look better on the new console. And it's like, well, Okay,
So
but
wait, they're
so
not launching with an exclusive title?
no, not even one.
Why is that? That's
'Cause that's the
really
Xbox
strange.
strategy. So Xbox is more than just the console, right? So and this year, two consoles, right? But you got to remember they have Game Pass subscriptions. These things work across console, PC, and mobile, thanks to game streaming. Honestly, they want to get as many games as possible in as many places as possible. That's the Xbox strategy. The idea is that you join the Xbox ecosystem and you can access your content from wherever. And it's great. It's super, it's pro gamer, pro customer, whatever. But it also means that like I just spent $500 on a console. Clearly, I want to, try this new next generation game that only runs in this console, and that thing doesn't exist. There's no such thing. Thursday, this in 2 days from now, like the new Call of Duty will come out. Call of Duty is optimized for the new console, so it will run fine. It will look fine on Xbox One. It will look a little better on Xbox One S, and it will look a little better still on Xbox One X. Still going to be exactly the same game, right? So it's some visual improvements, some performance improvements, and so forth.
But is that enough? Is that going to be enough to hit a home run in a terrible economic Q4?
Right.
Like you need to be encouraged to buy this. If you don't have an exclusive title at launch to begin with, you need something else. And I think a lot of the stuff is pointing in the wrong direction for them.
Well, okay. So to kind of flip that on its head, I will sort of say, like I said, this is a concern. It is a concern. However, one of the interesting byproducts of the pandemic is that consumers have been spending a lot more money on video games this year than they have before. And video games sales have just exploded, right? And so in the quarters leading up to them selling this new console, you would have expected the Xbox business to collapse, which it's done every time before there's a new console. That did not happen. Those quarters were all up enormously over previous years. That's never happened before. It's because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So here's the truth. This holiday season, Xbox is going to do great. These things are sold out. They're going to remain sold out. You're not going to be able to find one. Every one of them that they can make is going to be sold. So for the short term, they're actually going to benefit from the pandemic. And it doesn't matter that there are no exclusives. People are just looking for something new, and they don't look if you said to me, look, I have hundreds of dollars to spend on video games. Would you be better off buying games or subscribing to a service? Yes. But some people, they want something under the tree, whatever it is. They're going to sell out of these things. How this thing will do compared to PlayStation 5 is a story for another day. I don't know.
I mean, PlayStation has some great titles that they're launching with. So
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, here's the nice thing about it. It doesn't really matter if you buy one now. So if you're like a dedicated Xbox guy and you're like, look, I've got thousands of dollars, invested is a tough term, but I spent on this ecosystem. I've got all these games. All that stuff's going to come forward, and that's awesome. But you should ride out your current console or however you're playing for as long as you can before you decide to upgrade. I mean, prices will come down too. That's the other nice thing. But the promise, and it's real, is that when you move forward, everything's going to be better, and it will be better. So even though it's the same games, they're going to look, play, load faster, whatever it is. It will be better. One of the very real concerns, though, and this speaks to maybe waiting a little while on these consoles, is storage space. So, like the Xbox Series X comes with a terabyte of storage, internal storage, but there's only really about 800 gigabytes free, right? And the smaller one comes with 512 gigabytes of storage, but there's only 364 gigabytes, I think, free.
So let me ask you this:
okay,
the user interface.
Well, hold on. Let me just.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Let me just conclude that because it's. That's not a lot of space. I've installed 3 games on the Xbox Series S, and I'm almost out of storage.
That's not good.
Just 3. The problem with this is the onus is on you as the customer to figure out how to solve this problem. So, Microsoft through Seagate sells a 1 terabyte expansion card. It's $225. It will work with everything. That's great. So it's there, at least if you need it. But you also have the option of putting old backward compatible games on USB storage, but you have to do that yourself. So in my case, a lot of the games that are taking up space on the X, in particular, where I do have more games, I could move that stuff onto USB storage and it would play. But you can't play new generation games. I'm sorry, optimized games, right? Off of USB. You can only do it off of the internal or the expansion storage.
Oh, really?
So it creates this situation where you kind of have to manage it.
Oh, that's not good. I don't like that.
It's not. No, it's not good. So I think in the future, what we're going to see is Xbox Series X or whatever consoles with more internal storage, and then we'll see more expansion cards with higher capacity.
Yeah, somebody called it the Sophie's choice of high-res gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so you asked about the user interface.
The user interface, because from what I'm hearing, because I don't have one, right? So I can't give a review of this one, unlike the previous generation. But I'm hearing, obviously, the launch title thing is going to be a problem because people really want there to be a specific exclusive launch title that comes along with the game. Whatever, it's fine.
Sure.
There's plenty of other things that you're going to be able to do. The people that want to buy an Xbox will buy an Xbox. Doesn't matter. But I'm hearing that the interface needs some work.
Oh, actually, I think the interface is pretty good. I mean, so here's the pro and con on the UI part of it. I think what people have complained about is that maybe the Sony UI is a little more stripped down and it seems a little more, I don't know, a little more something. I don't know. I think it's fine. The good news is they've solved the performance problems on the UI. So Xbox 360, Xbox One, they went through a variety of UIs. They kept trying to optimize it. They never got it there. It's like really slow. That the UI on the Xbox Series X and S is lightning fast. It's excellent. So they finally gotten to the point where it should be. So that's really good news. Good or bad news, depending on your perspective, the UI that's on these boxes is exactly the same UI that's on Xbox One. It's exactly the same. There is not any part of it that's any little different. It is identical. And that is sort of like the exclusive problem where it's good in a way because, you're familiar with it. You get started right away. You don't have to learn anything. But it also takes away a little slice of newness that you would typically feel when you buy something new. And even though learning something new is, like a little aggravating or difficult, maybe you feel like, well, this is what I spent the money on. Like this, obviously it's different. It's better, it must be better. And in this case, it's just the same, so everything moves quicker, but it's literally exactly the same as it is on Xbox One.
Yeah,
it's a little weird.
So like I just gave an example, right? I just asked a friend of mine that has 3 kids. They play Fortnite and they play all these games. They have a PlayStation. I said, Are you going to upgrade? I said, are you getting an Xbox or a PlayStation? He said, I'm going to get an Xbox. I said, why? He goes, they already have a PlayStation 4.
Oh.
So interesting. That I find that interesting. The other thing is in our chat, there's a whole discussion about how big Call of Duty Cold War is.
I'll take a look. Actually, I should look on both of them.
So it's 136 gigs on the Series X.
Okay. Let's see.
Also, Josh Coleman, a good friend of the show, his Xbox is on his front lawn right now.
Oh, jeez.
He just sent me this photo. I'm sending it to you, Paul. It's in a box on his front lawn.
Okay. I'm having. I don't know why I can't figure
because
it out.
Here's the thing, like
you try to run the game like an idiot.
You're gonna have to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
On what console you're buying and for what reason. You got 3 choices right now. You got mid-range, high, lower end, high end, and then you got what PlayStation's doing. For me, I'm gonna go with an Xbox because I always do. That's always my first one that I go with. But if you already just I don't know. For me, I'm gonna go with the Xbox. I don't know how someone's gonna determine which one they're buying if we're not talking about launch titles. I guess brand loyalty.
Right.
The whole thing is interesting.
I hadn't looked at this before. One of the what do we call this? One of the advantages and features of the Xbox platform is this feature called Smart Delivery. So you talked about the new Call of Duty game. So 130 gigs on Xbox One X, which is correct. That game will take up less space on an Xbox One S because it doesn't have the same high quality assets. And it will take up even less space on an Xbox One X because that doesn't have the same quality asset. So on Xbox One S, it only takes up only 116.3 gigabytes of space. That's not a big savings. So, it's not half as big.
Yeah.
The storage on the Xbox One S is half of what is available on the X. But the game is 10% less, maybe whatever that works out to be, 15% less. So this game, as a percentage of the available space, takes up a lot more space on Xbox One S. Yeah, that's 1/3 of the space available on this console. Literally,
you don't buy any optical media, do you? Or you do everything digital?
I do everything digital personally. I should also mention the Xbox One S does not have an optical drive, so you're kind of forced to go all digital on that one, which is fine. That's what I always do anyway. But no, I will. I mean, I'll test a Blu-ray in this so I can write about it. But the truth is, I would.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though, right? How do you do that if you want to get like 3-4 games?
How do you do what? Sorry, what?
With the limitation on the hard drive, right? These are like
so yeah. So well, look, I mean, it depends on the game, right? So not everyone's playing Call of Duty, right? If I put 3 Call of Duty games on this console, it would be full. There would be nothing else I could do. But if you want to play like Fortnite or some of the more casual games, you could fit more of those. Those are they're smaller, right? You could get internal storage, or storage expansion, which right now is only 1 terabyte. But at that point, you've just spent $225 to go from 512 to 1.5 terabytes, but you have the slower processing, lower resolution, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, why not just buy an X? So these are the decisions we have to make. It's complicated.
So just got another message from a friend that's listening. He goes,
okay.
I specifically ordered a new TV with 120 hertz so I could play on this thing. Yeah. Let me tell you, it's effing beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
His exact words to me right now.
Yeah, I don't have 120 hertz, but I have the 60 hertz. But it's 4K HDR, gorgeous. I mean, it is. They look great. I mean, they do look great.
I would recommend, if you haven't. With the previous Xbox, the big story was a lot of people wouldn't have a 4K TV to be able to get the most bang for the buck. I think a lot of people now have a 4K TV. They've well, they do, but they're still selling a version that's not going to hit 4K most of the time. So it's kind of interesting that they even have an S. And Microsoft's expectation is that the lower cost one over time will sell more than the more expensive one that does 4K, which is kind of interesting, right? And I don't know if it's just cost or whatever, but it is a cute little machine for sure, and it's completely silent, which is nice. It'd be great for the living room, but that quick resume feature I was talking about is only for games, so you can't quick resume media apps. So if you if you're looking at Netflix, it's really bad. Like this is actually a huge problem. So it's not that moving between the apps is slow; it's still pretty quick, but if you're watching Netflix and you're like, well, and we're just doing apps, right? This is how the world's going, right? So we have apps for everything. So you're like, well, I think I'm going to switch over to YouTube TV and see how the game's going or whatever. So you launch YouTube TV, you click on the sign in button or whatever, go to the live TV thing, you go look at it, your team's doing however they're doing. You're like, all right, I can go back to Netflix. Netflix boots up like it had never been run before. It doesn't quick resume. It's not sitting where it was. It's not waiting for you on whatever show you were watching or whatever. It literally boots up as if from scratch. You have to choose the user. If you have users configured, you have to go find the content, start it again. And now you're like, oh, I want to see how the game's going. So you swap out of that. You relaunch YouTube TV again. YouTube starts like you've never run it before. You have to sign in. Yeah, that's
it's kind of it makes it less effective as a media device because you can't really switch quickly between that. Jeez, I just saw this picture you sent. That's funny.
That's Josh. How deranged does he look with his Xbox?
That's good. That's funny.
Yeah. So you want to do a Q&A with the chat? We haven't done a Q&A. Well, we haven't done a Q&A in a long time. This is a segment that we do on Map Men, where we do a Q&A at the end of every show, where the viewers could ask it. The viewers in our YouTube chat, because that's the one I'm monitoring right now, could ask you or myself any question they want. So if you have a question, I'm going to give you guys like a minute or two to put yourselves together and submit your question. I'm sure a lot of them are going to be for you, Paul, because you're the man of the hour with the Xbox. Are you going to get a PlayStation? I was going to ask you this.
No, not right away. I mean, by the way, PlayStation is going to be sold out too, right? It's going to be hard to get a PlayStation this Christmas. I'll look at that in the future. I mean, I don't know that I see a real point in it. I basically try, but I end up playing the same handful of games over and over again. I suppose there would be some advantages in doing that on PlayStation because Call of Duty is has advantages on PlayStation, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't know. If I do, it won't be anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an Xbox. I mean that's really that's I mean they're
both beautiful. They're both silent,
they're both
like I said. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not one of these people that's like a PlayStation guy or an Xbox guy. I'm way more of a casual gamer now. Something happened to me. A lot happened to me over the last couple of years. Drinking, life, marriage, kids. But something happened to me that I cannot commit to a Call of Duty style game. I just can't do it because I suck at it, Paul. Like really? If we were to, you know what would be a tremendous thing for us to do? If we did a funded version of the show where you teach me how to play Call of Duty. I guarantee you we would get tons of donations for people to watch you scream at me because I'm so bad it's embarrassing. But
I literally I did something today in Call of Duty I've never done. I sent a guy a message and I said, please stop playing this game. You are taking down the rest of the team with you. You have no idea what you're doing. Just stop. This is a guy who, like, in subsequent games, this is off the top of my head, so it might be a little wrong. He had 2 kills and got killed 16 times. And then in the next game, he had like 4 kills and he got killed like 30 times. And I was like, you just need to, I'm going to block you. But between you and me, you should not play this game. Did you get a message?
Did you get a message back saying, "Hi, you messaged my son. He's 8."
Yeah. Well, then why is he playing Call of Duty at 11 o'clock?
You know what? That's me. I can't, and I'm embarrassed to go and play online because that's the only way you get good at it.
I have never contacted anyone, dude. I was so upset because literally we lost 2 games in a row because some guy just kept getting killed. Like he'd run into the same room, get blown up, cover me in his blood. Then I'd sit there and shoot the guy who killed him, and then he'd come running back in. And I was like, you need to just stop. You're just wasting everyone's time here. I've never done that before.
We got a bunch of questions. First time for everything, Paul. Do you use a headset? Like, do you yell at them with the headset?
No, I mute everybody and I don't talk.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I scream to the screen, but I don't have a microphone.
So. Has anybody said like, hey, are you Paul Thurrott? Because your username is a giveaway.
Yeah. I don't hear them. See, that's the problem. Some people text me, people friend me, people, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Holy crap, it's Paul Thurrott.
Yeah, I just got teabagged by Thurrott.
Yeah.
So awesome. So that's it's the personal service that I provide.
Paul succumbed to rage. That's somebody wrote in the chat. Here we go.
It wasn't so much rage. It was just like resignation. Like just stop. Like I actually felt the need to be like, there are calmer games maybe you could play, or there are easier versions of Call of Duty you could because I played the hardcore version. All you're doing is like you're just hurting everybody. Like, don't be here.
Yeah. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah. Sure.
I want to hear more about how you yell at people on Xbox. I think that needs to be your own show.
No, it's the first time I've ever done it. I've literally never done it.
I want you to keep doing it. I want you to keep doing it.
No, I type. You don't understand. I used the controller to type out the message. It took a minute. I took the time to tell this guy not to stop playing my game.
How terrible do you have to be to get someone?
I know. That's what I mean. I've never done it before. No, I just watched this guy get obliterated again and again. I'm like, what enjoyment are you getting out of this? All you're doing is running back to the same place and getting blown up.
I find the actual action of you messaging this guy hysterical. Like you sitting there normally typing it.
When there are bad players, so people are just jerk offs or whatever. Yeah. Like you can block them, and that just kind of ensures that you'll never see them in a game again. I do that fairly frequently, But this time I was just watching him and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, and then one time he shot, that was what did it. He shot me. He's on my team.
Terrible.
He like killed me.
Terrible. He should be banned.
I'm on a streak, dude. What are you doing? Like, anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to go on and on.
No, please keep doing it.
It was so weird.
All right, here's a question. Have you guys heard any rumors about Microsoft buying Sega or another Japanese game studio? Well, someone has to buy Sega because they have a tremendous library.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's what all they have is like a library. Like, so Microsoft, I think it was Phil Spencer recently said something to the tune of they're still looking for studios to buy. And I think very specifically, they said they were looking for more casual game studios, right? I don't think it was Japanese specifically, but I think it was like more casual. Yep. And I guess the Sega stuff, because it's mostly legacy, kind of falls into that category. Like what's Space Harrier now, or Sonic or something. I mean, these are, they're kind of casual games, I guess. So no, not Sega specifically, but it wouldn't be a bad outcome, honestly.
I think they're seeing the success. Like I'm a casual gamer, and I got to tell you, I love beat 'em ups. Like I was an arcade rat. Like growing up, I was a total arcade. We had an arcade by me. I would live in that freaking arcade. Yeah. It's just me, my cousins, and myself. We would just stay there all freaking day, every day after school. We would be in the arcade playing Street Fighter 2 or playing some sort of beat 'em up. They re-released. Did you play Streets of Rage 4 at all?
No, but I mean, no.
Dude, it's awesome. It's awesome because you know why? It's nostalgic enough. The music is nostalgic. The moves are nostalgic. It's appealing. But
let me ask you the pertinent question.
Yeah.
Is it Call of Duty?
It is not Call of Duty.
Yeah.
No, it's a beat 'em up. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
But
you know what? It's been a tremendous success to the point that they've already said that there will be a sequel to this. So there'll be the 5th version of this. It was that successful, and it was done by an indie developer that teamed up with Sega.
And Streets of Rage that's not a Sega thing, is it?
It is Sega, yeah.
It is Sega. Okay.
Yeah. It was tremendously successful. So I think a lot of people are realizing, like Capcom is now talking about doing Final Fight, doing a revamp of Final Fight because of the success that they saw with a side-scrolling beat-em-up that appealed to, you know who? 30 freaking year olds. That's
for nostalgia. Yeah, because the people have money now or want to re-experience the things.
And the game was great. And the game is great. I still play it. I mean, if I just want to blow off some steam and play a game, I play that. You know what else I play? Castle Crashers. Love that game.
That's cool.
That's how advanced I am, Paul. But I do play World of Warcraft.
Dude, listen, don't be ashamed of that. Whatever you like to do is fine.
I like WoW. Do you play WoW?
No. World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
No.
See, love it.
You just describe games that are like on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's too involved.
You're
like
I
think for me, Call of Duty is like
shooting of your guns. You don't want to.
Call of Duty game matches. 10 minutes.
Hide in a forest and shoot arrows, Paul.
And if it wasn't for the ignoramus today, usually it's an enjoyable experience. And you get out, you're done. You're good. It's good. You can move on with life.
Garrett in the chat room says, non-tech question for fun. What's your favorite type of food, Paul?
Oh, jeez. Probably sushi.
I would have gone with sushi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
I like Greek. All kinds of different food. But yeah, probably sushi.
I'm gonna go Greek. Give me a gyro every day. I'm fine.
Seafood. We eat a lot of seafood.
Yeah, you're a big foodie. Michael says, do the PlayStation exclusives have Call of Duty for Call of Duty concern you as an Xbox gamer?
Yeah. Yep. In fact, I don't know if we're probably 3 years into this, it used to be exclusive is kind of the wrong word, but it's the word they use. So things launch on PlayStation first, right? And so even something as minor as like the beta for the multiplayer for the new Call of Duty happened on Xbox 2 weeks after it happened on PlayStation, right? So there's going to be a content drop that I don't think it's this month. It's probably next month. And among the many things coming is the classic Nuketown map, like the original Nuketown. I literally was playing Nuketown this morning, but it was the version from Black Ops 4 or whatever. That will arrive like a month later on Xbox. Like we're not getting that right away. Like that kind of thing really bothers me. And this is the thing, when I was talking earlier about console exclusives from the perspective of the gamer are not really a good thing. It's kind of, I think, one of the ways that the industry is broken, but the reality is they exist. And so if I literally only care about Call of Duty, maybe I should be using a PlayStation 5, you know?
That is interesting that they're getting. I mean, is it exclusive now, or are they going to port it off eventually?
No, it's coming. It's coming in a month. You know, typically I think it's about a month. But I don't like that kind of thing. I don't like that kind of thing.
So here's Jonathan with a question for Paul. If I connect the USB 3 portable hard drive and load an Xbox X optimized game, does the console automatically move to internal drive and then launch? I heard it plays non-optimized from the external.
That's a good question. So I still have some open questions about how things will work in certain ways. So if you if you have an existing Xbox One console, whatever version, and you download whatever games and you put them on that hard drive, you can attach that hard drive to an Xbox Series X or S and play those games. And what you will be playing is the Xbox One version. I don't believe it will do anything automatic. It would be kind of an interesting thing and potentially useful if it popped up a message that said, hey, by the way, there is an optimized version of this game available for your console. We can install that to the internal storage if you'd like, that kind of thing. But no, the way it works is it will just play whatever's on there, backward compatible. So it's not going to, it won't, I haven't done it. So, but I can't imagine it would do that automatically.
Yeah. Jonathan also says Andrew's best guns are his arms and fists in Street Fighter. Hold on. Look at this, Paul. Look at that. Look at that. Not bad. Look at that. Hanging on there.
Wow.
There you go. I hope
someday we'll go to the gym together and we'll see what's up.
Can we squat together? Can we do like
we can squat together?
Can we do like old school?
It will be
like
the totally non-gay gym experience you've been wanting your whole life. Yeah.
I want to wear like the old school. Like I want the medicine ball. I want us to throw the medicine ball at each other.
Yep.
Perfect, guys. I think that's it for this week. I had a whole bunch of other stuff I wanted to kind of run down, but I totally forgot what it was.
There's a lot of stuff today.
It was a ton of stuff. Yeah. You know what? I got to tell you, the Apple announcement kind of shocked me. I thought there would be a whole lot more.
There was so much anticipation of this. We have been waiting for this since at least June when they did WWDC.
Yeah.
But sort of before then too, because we knew this was coming. And I was expecting a little more finality on some of the things we've been wanting to know, like real world performance, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully Apple has seeded their reviewers with devices. And by next Friday sometime, or maybe by next Tuesday, we'll get the first reviews in because I'm really, really, really curious to see what
I heard that they sent John Prosser a
cease and desist.
A MacBook Air. They sent them a MacBook Air, but inside it was just shit. They didn't send him anything inside.
It was just right.
And they lit it on fire. They rung his bell. Tim Cook personally.
It was like a burning MacBook Air on his front porch.
Yeah, just poop inside.
Right.
I was told actually that they are so mad at him, and they're trying to find out who the Apple employees are by going through his follows, the 350,000 people that follow him. And they're trying to track down.
I mean, that's a really unsophisticated way to find out something. I mean, the person who's doing that should not be following them with their real account, right? I mean,
listen, they're trying to figure it out. Okay. Do you remember how nuts they went when that guy had the iPhone? Had the phone? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The guy that lost the phone. What was it? It was a fourth. It was the iPhone 4.
iPhone 4, I think, and he left it in a bar.
Yeah.
And then Gadget or Gizmodo actually bought it.
Yeah, and the secret police showed up at the door.
Which is legally questionable. Anyway, they took his computer away.
And the Apple secret police showed up at that guy's door.
I think it was the actual police, but it was dumb.
No. At Gizmodo, the guy which I think it was Gizmodo, they said it was not actual police. It was Apple security that showed up.
No. I think they got the police involved.
Was that it? I'm almost 100% at one point it was that. Interesting.
Okay, but,
yeah. Yeah. Interesting. All right, guys. That's it for this week. We had a lot of fun with you. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. Guys, if you're watching this live, hit the subscribe button. We're here on YouTube.
Ring the bell, guys.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Make sure you please ring the freaking bell. Hit the bell. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 10,000 subscribers, Paul, here on YouTube. And I think that's quite an accomplishment because we are not a YouTube product. We've never been a YouTube product.
We're not a YouTube product.
We are not. We are.
That's true.
We are two middle-aged men. I've just become middle-aged.
I love that you've lumped me into the same category as you.
I made you younger. I made myself a little older. I made you a little younger. We're now meeting in the middle. Covering technology like we cover tech like we're sitting at a bar and having a conversation. Two friends. We like to have fun with this, and it's been an amazing 10 years of almost doing this right now. So hit the subscribe button. I want to hit 10,000 in 2021. That's my goal. I think we'll hit it. Just for myself. For no other reason. I just want to do it for myself. Look, I got 10,000 followers. That's what I want to say to people. And that's it for this week, guys. See you later. That was
actually
fun.
What you really want is one of those little YouTube plaques.
I know. You know, we did it. I went the old school way. I went the radio format. Who thought this whole YouTube thing would be the way to do it? Because remember, when we started doing this show on YouTube, it was just vloggers.
Yeah.
There was really no other specific content. So, all right.
I just go there to watch Family Guy clips now anyway. So
that's it. That's what everybody uses it for. I'll save this for next week. Okay. I got something I want to talk about. But we won't do a what to talk this week. I just need a photo of you.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me turn this off. Let me turn the lower third off. All right. Let's do. There we go. Let's do one more.
Did we do one?
Yep. Let me do one more. In 3, 2. Oh, hold on. Oh my God. I think I crashed it. Oh shit. Hold on. One more. Sorry. There we go. All good. Thank you, Paul.
Sure. Thank you.
I'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you.